We are back here at Pull Yourself to Pieces with part 2 of our conversation with lawyer Michelle. And here it is. Enjoy.
Let's look at this. Okay, so Putin is in charge of Russia, right? What chance do those people have of changing anything that goes on in their government?
Who knows?
They
You're
have
right.
to
It
do
seems like looking at
I'll
it,
tell you
there'd
what.
be no chance. But
They
I
have
know.
to
I'll
have a
tell you
war.
what. No, I think they have a better chance than we do. I think the Russian people are more committed to changing their way of life than Americans are.
Yeah, but look what they have to go through in the meantime, all right? There
Yes.
hundreds of thousands of people in Russia are being killed by being sent
Right.
to Ukraine to fight and get killed, right? So this is the problem, right? Fascism is happening as we speak. This is not something that we can say, okay, let's just wait it out. And in 2024, maybe we'll vote some of these people out, blah, blah, blah. No, 50% of our states are already being taken over by fascist governors, fascist legislatures, right? Women are being denied the right to abortion. They're banning books. They're banning Black history in schools.
Don't say gay.
Don't say gay.
You can't say gay.
You can't say gay. They're trying to make schools into religious indoctrination centers as opposed to places of education. We don't have the ability to just wait this out for younger generations because it's going to be too late. When you look at Iran and the way that things are right now, women used to have much, much more freedom in those countries. You see pictures of these women dressed in normal clothing, living normal lives, going to colleges, right?
That was under the Shah of Iran, correct?
I believe so.
Oh, yeah.
But it's gone. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gone.
And there's the morality police. These people are being killed. These women are being killed. Not only the women, but the people that are their allies, right?
Yeah.
The men who are their allies are not allowed to protest. They're not allowed to go out in the streets and protest. They're sent to prison or executed. All right, we don't have that kind of time to say, okay, let's just kind of hope that younger people are going to be atheists and they're going to object to this stuff in the future. It's happening right now. We're talking about, when I talk to a lot of people, it's about, I don't want to live in a red state because I don't have any rights there. My daughters don't have any rights there. If I have a gay kid or a Black kid, they don't have any rights there. So people are talking about moving not only to other countries, but to democratically controlled states.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even freaking travel through Florida right now. Not even travel through Florida right now.
Ditto.
Texas. I mean, I used to love Texas when I lived there, but it's a completely different animal right now. There's no way. My daughter and her family lived in Austin for years and had a lot invested in there, but they knew, based on the fascism going on in Texas, there's no way they were going to raise their two daughters there. They up and they moved to Illinois outside of Chicago. And this took a lot. And they were lucky they had the money to do that.
Yeah.
But most people don't, or many, many people don't. And they're just the innocent victims of what's happening there.
Yeah.
This is urgent. This is so urgent. And anybody who ever looks at the history of the Holocaust sees this exact pattern that happened there in Germany.
Oh, I totally agree. History is repeating itself, and it didn't take long. How many years? 60, 80 years?
It didn't take long at all.
Didn't take long.
And that's where we're at. That is where we're at. And to stir up enough people to understand that they need to get outside of their own little lives and think about what the hell is going on and what they can do to make a difference, rather than putting their heads in the sand and saying, okay, well, whatever. I have this challenge, right? So, I know probably more Republicans are churchgoers than Democrats. I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah,
But
easily that's a ratio. Yeah.
yeah, but I do also know that there's a significant portion of Democrats who are still churchgoers. I know it. Everything I've researched, there's still a ton of them. I put out this challenge to them and said, listen, if you are really worried and you really care about the Christofascism taking over this country, protest. Tell your churches you're walking out. You're not going to tithe them anymore unless they take a stand against what's going on in Christianity right now, because this is a Christian problem. This is not just a religious problem. This is Christians, extremists, saying, okay, this is what we want to happen in this country. We don't care that we're a minority. We're going to force it on all of you. We're going to force our beliefs into the laws, and it's going to control every single person that lives here, regardless of whether you're Christians or whether you're a different type of Christian that's not so extreme. We don't care. This is what we're doing. Okay? Christians who go to church are in the strongest position to take a stand. They can walk out of their churches. They can stop tithing. They can say, we don't agree with the direction that Christianity is going in America, so we're leaving. We're leaving. But nobody will do it. I mean, you have a few people here and there, but most of them are people who already left, right?
Yeah, right.
All the others are like, oh, it's not my church. My church isn't doing that. No.
I'll give you a perfect example. My ex-wife used to go to church a lot until she heard a lot of. Then one day she started really paying attention to what they were preaching, and she realized they were really preaching a lot of hate.
Yep.
And she said, "You know what? I can't subscribe to this." And after growing up in a very religious family, brothers and sisters, mother and father, very, very religious, she went the complete opposite way.
Yeah.
She went
because
the complete
you have to
opposite
open
way.
your eyes. You have to listen.
That's what happened. She opened her eyes and she's like, I can't subscribe to this anymore. So yeah,
you have to pay attention.
We need more of that.
But it's like I've asked so many people, why wouldn't you leave your church? If you thought, okay, let's think of it in a group context. I'm one individual, right? How many people can I sway into doing the right thing? Not that many. But churches have millions of followers in America, millions, right? Yeah. If every Democratic Christian would take a stand and leave their church over this, what do you think that would do? Every single one.
Wow, it would change the demographic, that's for sure.
It would close them down.
It would close them down, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that churches in threat of being closed down are just going to remain silent? They have
Probably
to
not.
fight for their existence. That money that comes in from those people is what keeps them afloat.
Yep.
Why wouldn't someone do that? Why wouldn't someone? It's not like we're asking you to take a gun and go out and fight like Ukrainians are doing. Right? Yeah. There are so many Ukrainians who didn't have to fight this war. They weren't required. A lot of women who stayed or came back and decided to fight for their country, and they weren't required by law to do so. Yet people won't take a simple step of walking out of their damn church to save America from fascism.
In protest.
What has happened to us? What has happened to us since the 1960s?
Yeah. We got old. That's what happened to us.
I mean, it's not just us, but the other people out there who don't want to take a stand to save our country.
we were passionate about what we believed in back then, and we were willing to do anything that it took to enact change.
Why
People,
not now?
no, people are lazy. That passion is long dead. People think, I'm not going to do anything because nothing's going to change, and that's the mindset now. I'm not going to do anything because nothing's going to change.
So we're
And
just going to
that,
let ourselves just sink into Christo-fascism and lose all of our rights and become an entirely different country than the one that you and I grew up in, where
I would love I would love a game plan. I mean, I would love somebody. Here's the problem: nobody except you, Michelle, wants to step up and and be the spokesperson and rile everybody up and get the troops moving. Um, think about it. Who has out of hmm, out of anybody famous today, who has really come out and said, "All right, enough is enough"? I mean,
not that many
who
people, not that
who's
many
come out?
people.
Who's
Yeah.
come out to
I mean,
to be an inspiration?
they've come out like in little dribs and drabs, right?
Um,
But
right.
you're right. I agree with you. I agree with you that this should be a much bigger deal than it is.
Yeah.
People should be taking this much more seriously than they are.
Yep.
People should be coming out in droves, and famous people should be saying, here I am. I'm
Right.
just this little attorney who doesn't. I'm just a drop in the world, right?
Yeah.
I'm nothing. I'm willing to risk my career to do this.
Yeah.
What about all these other people who have lots of money and lots of prestige and really don't have anything to lose at this point? Where
Right.
are they?
I don't know.
Where are they? Why aren't they?
I think a lot of people believe. Well, look, 74% of the population are so ingrained in their religion that they don't care. So the other 26% of us, the atheists, I mean, there aren't a lot of us. We're not a majority here. We're fighting against.
Are these women that are religious? Are they like actually thinking about what they're doing? Are they thinking about the fact that they and their daughters and their granddaughters could be the Iranian women? They could be the Afghan women.
No, they have no.
Are
They have
they
no.
thinking this?
They have no backbone. No, they have no backbone. They're slaves to their husbands. They're slaves to what their husbands think and do, and they will just follow along like the good little Christians that they're supposed to be in the Bible. And that's
See,
it.
this
If
is
you're
why
used-
I have a problem with religion.
Yeah.
You
well,
know? I mean,
yeah.
this is one of the biggest problems. It forces people into being passive. It makes you think that you have no control over anything, and anything you do is not going to matter. You just have to go along with whatever everybody wants you to do. And you're not supposed to think for yourself. You're not supposed to stand up and speak out.
No.
And this is the problem. You look at countries like Australia, for instance. I have a lot of Twitter friends in places like Australia who say maybe only 50% of the people in that country are religious. And they're shocked. I mean, other people in places like Sweden and other parts of Europe
Yeah.
are shocked at what's
Yeah.
going on with America.
Yeah.
Why don't
no,
more
it's true.
people see this? Canada, we have all these people from Canada rooting us on. Like, what the hell is going on with America?
Yeah.
Why is this
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
And that they're
Yeah.
horrified.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be a fan, but Bill Maher said some years back,
Tell him.
slow moving coup. He called what was going on in this country a slow moving coup, and he was right.
He was
And
right. Where did
he-
he
he-
turn
he-
to the dark side, though?
Michelle, it really pains me because I have followed him since politically incorrect.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that show and his guests, and he walked the tightrope. He really did.
Yeah.
And then he got on his his show now, Real Time, and over the last, I'm going to say 2 to 3 years, he's definitely gone from leaning left to definitely middle, kind of leaning right.
Yeah.
And I kept
What happened
thinking,
to him?
what is the reason for this change all of a sudden? Why
Yeah.
would you
Sponsors.
wh-
I don't know.
I don't know. I
either
don't know. I don't know if it's money or anything, because he already, I don't know, he seemed to be the type of person who would say how he really felt,
yeah,
you know?
right.
So I
Money.
have a feeling that he is just kind of in the mode of an angry white man right now.
I think you're right.
I don't think it's about money.
I think you're right. No, I don't think it's about money. I think you're right. And
And I've
think,
seen that change in people. I've seen that change.
yeah,
They get older. Like, I was married for 19 years to somebody who went to the most liberal college in the country, pretty much, in Massachusetts. He grew up Catholic, but he wasn't religious anymore, or so he said. Always voted Democrat. And, over time, things didn't work out. About 19 years, we got a divorce. He ended up marrying a Trumper.
wow.
Full-blown Trumper. And he, instead of voting Democrat anymore, he started being, what's the other thing?
Republican.
No. The other one that nobody votes
Conservative?
for. No.
Oh, independent.
No.
I give up.
Oh,
I'm out.
was it L with an L, right?
No. The one that
Green- the
nobody
Green
votes
Party?
for. It's not
The
the Green
Green Party?
Party. One more.
Oh, right.
can do this.
Libertarian. The Libertarian.
Yes.
I said with
yes,
an L.
Yes,
See, I was-
yes. You got it.
You-
You got it.
You got it.
Libertarian.
Ding, 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 ding.
And his whole change was that white men in America are under attack. All right. So,
I just have, every time I hear this, I have to laugh.
yeah. Well, it's Bill
White
Maher.
men
I
are-
mean, that's the whole thing. It's white men in America are under attack. And of
Oh,
course,
golly.
the woman he married, fully supports that, and of course he loves that, but you see people, some people like us, we get more, or me at least, I get more liberal as I age.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then you see
Well,
the
same
people
here.
who get, yeah. And then
Right,
you get the
same here.
people who get more conservative as they get older. And I think that's what happened to Bill Maher.
Yeah. You might be right. That you might be right. Yeah.
Old and
I-
stodgy
I-
and not open to new ideas and not
Close-minded.
willing
Yeah.
to close-minded, not willing to accept younger generations.
Yeah, it's been well over 2 years now since I stopped watching Bill Maher. And I used to watch I didn't watch him Friday nights because I didn't have Showtime, but I would find him on YouTube on Saturday morning, and my ex and I would sit and watch him, and he was always spot on. And then he just started shifting, and you could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was started out gradual, but then all of a sudden he was just. When
Yeah.
he started knocking liberals and Democrats, I'm like, wow, that's it. I'm
Wow.
done. I
That's a
can't.
change.
That's
Yep.
a big change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see that happen with some people. They feel like he tried to convince my son, who was in this liberal college in North Carolina, that, white men were under attack. And, it's like, oh my God, I'm so glad he didn't listen.
Yeah.
But
White men under attack. Who's attacking
Yeah.
white men? That's what I want to know. Who is attacking these white men?
people that are standing up for their equality is what it is.
Oh.
How dare we?
How dare we stand up for? Oh, okay.
How
All right.
dare we? How dare women
See,
stand up, and people of color, and
Yeah.
gays stand up for equality? How dare we?
Yeah. See, I had to ask the question because I don't feel like I'm being attacked, so I don't know who's doing the attacking. That's why I had to ask.
Nobody
and I-
is. They feel like they're being attacked because their white privilege has been called out.
Oh,
Finally,
well,
you
too
know.
bad. That's tough.
Yeah, that's
Deal with
hard.
it.
That's hard to deal with for some people,
You know,
apparently.
regimes change, and just think of
Yeah,
it as a regime change. You're no longer in charge, buddy.
yeah.
But yeah, but well, I don't have a look. I'm going to be honest. I don't have a lot of good things to say about white people.
I don't
Not
either.
not for
Yeah,
the last 9 years. Nope,
yeah. And that's
not for
us
the last.
being white. Yeah,
And yeah, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be an older white man in this country. I
yeah.
really am, because I'm guilty by association.
I'm
And
embarrassed to be a white woman, to be honest, as well. I mean,
yeah,
white women haven't been
and
showing
Billy's
themselves to be very good.
Billy's just embarrassed because that's Billy. So he embarrasses easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
so I
what
don't
else do
know
you
what
want to
else
talk
to
about?
say. Gosh, I don't
So
know.
what are we gonna? So there's three of us now. So we formed our own little club, and we're gonna fight back. So where do we
Yeah.
start?
But,
What do
yeah,
we?
but, who,
What do?
but here's
What?
an ironic
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
We're preaching to the choir. Yeah.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
That's the thing. Twitter is a very progressive. It's very progressive. All right, you see it every day.
yeah.
And and the fact that I have blocked thousands of people who are,
Yeah,
Trumpers or
yeah,
not progressive. Obviously, my feed leans very far left.
Right.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
we're all in agreement. But it's like my ex used to say, we're preaching to the choir. How do
Well,
you get the message out there to those that are brainwashed? I think it's
well,
sometimes I think
Michelle
it's
is saying that it's not just agreement. It's that we need to do something.
right. So what do we
Words,
do?
we're not just words. We need actions. Well, that's why you
I
made a good point. You said I need a game plan.
I need it.
well,
We need a game plan. What do we do?
we rile people up. We come up with ideas. Okay, so this is the thing about Twitter, right? If you open up your account to reach anybody,
Right.
and not just your followers, which I do, you are reaching lots and lots of people, right? Like at this point, I think I have like 17.8 thousand followers.
Okay.
That's because my tweets go everywhere, right? So first of all, you're reaching more people, and those people can share it with other people. But we shouldn't leave it to just Twitter. I was thinking that I really need to get on other things, like, I don't know about TikTok and YouTube and other things where maybe more young people are, going to listen to it. We have this podcast. This is
Yeah.
another way for us
Yeah.
to spread the information that we want people to hear.
Yeah.
But coming up with ideas, like I'm always inviting people, come up with ideas. If you don't like, because a lot of people are naysayers. Oh, that would never work. That would never work. Well, come up with another idea then. If you don't like my idea, come up with another idea. Don't just always be saying nothing's going to work, because that's not going to get us anywhere. Like there was this time when Ron DeSantis, and I don't know if this worked or not, but when Ron DeSantis was saying that they had to monitor the menstrual cycles of all
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe you said
female
that.
students in sports in public
Yeah.
high schools, right?
Yeah.
So I got on this thing of let's all send them like fake used menstrual products, right? Send them in the mail. I sent him a whole big batch of them, right? And I got a whole bunch of other people to do the same thing. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's not going to see it. It's just his staffers who are going to see it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, well, what's your idea? Right?
Yeah.
What's your idea? And it
Yeah.
turns out that might have actually worked. It might have made it so he backed down from that policy. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not sure because he's just a psycho
Yeah.
Hitler type who's going to
Yes.
do whatever he wants to do.
Yes.
But you can't just say, no, 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 that's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. You have to say, okay, well, maybe this would work better.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So anytime that I can think of something, I'm like, all right, walk out of your church. How many people in your church are Democrats, right?
Right.
What if it's 50%? What if it's 40%? What if it's 30%, right? That's a lot of people to leave your church.
Yep.
That's going to hurt them economically. All right, we're already like boycotting Florida. Don't go to Disney World. Don't,
Right.
don't even travel there. Don't work there. Don't go to college there. Don't anything there.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt them in the pocketbook. You got to find ways because, just voting is not ever enough.
Not anymore.
It's not enough.
Not
This
anymore.
is getting too drastic and too extreme for us to just vote. It's funny. A couple of women said, oh, you just have to trust that President Biden's going to take care of everything. I'm like, well, wait, what?
No, he's had 2 years to. No, I'm sorry. He's had 2 years to do something. He's done nothing about this issue that we're talking about today.
Right. And, I like President Biden. Don't get me wrong. I think he's doing a really good job under
Same
the
here.
circumstances, right?
Right.
But nobody, it's this whole idea of believing in like this godlike creature that's going to take care of everybody, right? No
Well-
president is going to take care of all of our problems.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. He's also part of the problem. He's a very highly respected Christian man. So
Yeah.
he's not going to be the one to take up the,
not this issue. Not this
No.
issue.
he's not going
Right.
to take up this issue. Of course not.
No. I think he's doing a lot of good in the sense of supporting Ukraine and a lot of other things. I give him a
Yeah.
lot of credit for those things. I really do.
Well,
But-
I would like to see him ban assault weapons. I mean, he
That too.
talks about
Yeah.
that. That would
Yeah.
be a big step. That would be a
It
real
sure
big
would.
step.
It sure would. But you gotta, one thing that I understand is that we have a very slim majority. Democrats have an extremely slim majority in Congress, and we have the executive branch.
Yep.
And this is going to be a fight. This is going to be a huge battle. And they can't take care of everything. We have to, as citizens, find our own ways to fight this.
Yeah.
And come up with ideas and do it. Protests and
Well,
whatever.
Back in the day, when people wanted change,
They did it.
They took to the streets.
Yep.
No, women. Do you remember women marching for women's rights in the 60s?
Yep.
I do. They would gather, and there would be thousands of them, and they took to the streets, and they enacted change. I think it's time we
We need to go full force.
I think we need to maybe organize some kind of protest.
Yep.
Some kind of protest where people show up. Let's call it the non-denominationals. We need to organize and show up, and
more than
and I
one
th-
place. We need to
and
do it
more
all
than
over
one-
the
yeah,
place.
And I think the threat of having to live under some kind of Christian laws in this country for atheists, that riles me up. That gets me.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I'm getting off my ass, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna
Me too.
march, because there's no way you're gonna force me into your laws.
No way.
No way. Not gonna
Nope.
happen.
I mean, we're
So-
even like talking about, you hear all these things like, the Republicans saying, oh, red states need to secede. And then you hear Democrats saying, I wish they would,
Mhm.
and it's like you get to the point of frustration where you're like, I wish they would. But then you think, okay, what about all the good people that are there? What about their children that have no control over this? What about,
Yeah.
what about the poor people who can't afford to move? And
Right.
Right.
so, you start to think rationally, like, okay, that wouldn't be so good.
It doesn't work.
No.
It's not going to work.
It's not like you could split the country right in half.
Yeah.
And you can afford to move all the people that want to move to the
Right.
left, the left country,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
there's the right
Where
country.
is?
Yeah.
But where is that? Where is that place?
Yeah, it's
I'm saying
everywhere.
figuratively split it
Right.
down, but you're right. You can't do it. You can't do it anyway.
Yeah.
Where is that place? I mean, 2 hours from me puts me in Washington, puts me in Alexandria, puts me in
Yeah, but 2 hours the other way
in-
puts you in West Virginia.
2 hours the other way. No, 2 hours the other way. 2 hours west of me puts me into the Shenandoah Valley, where they're still flying the Confederate flag.
Right.
Right.
I mean, so where do you go?
exactly.
You can't.
Exactly. It's not
Uh,
like this. Yeah, it's not like the old Civil War. We had the North and the South, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right. That Mason-Dixon line is basically imaginary, but it stood for something. You were either
Yeah.
for or against. But now you're talking about real geography here. How do you
Yeah.
split up the country? Red states and blue states.
And we are, and
mean-
and it doesn't feel like we're getting closer and closer to another civil war.
It
really
does.
doesn't.
without
It really
without
does.
a doubt.
serious.
Yeah.
It's coming.
it's
It's
scary.
coming. But my thing is this: who's going to fight it?
Right.
Yeah. And
Who's
how's it
going
going
to
to be
fight?
fought?
Right.
Right. Who's going to fight this civil war? Who?
And
Who's
how's
going to
it
fight
fought?
it? Right.
Like whose the side is the military on? Whose side is the police on? Whose
Where's
side is
where's the
anybody
front?
on?
There's not a front for this.
There's no
this
front.
This is not
Yeah.
North and South. Right. It's not a front.
No.
There's no
No.
front. There's no front for
And
it.
how do you know what somebody is by looking at them? Okay, if they're not wearing a little
Yeah.
red hat, you don't know they're a Trumper, right?
Right.
How do you know if
Exactly.
somebody's a liberal? How do you know if somebody's, you know what I'm saying? It's just
I
Crazy.
constantly see these maggots on Twitter talking about the Civil War's coming. You better be ready. We've got our guns, and all I
And
want.
then what?
And then I think, who are you going to shoot? I mean, murder is still against the law in this country.
yeah.
And so, who are you? Are you just going to go out into the streets and just start opening fire on anybody who's out on the street? Is that
Yeah.
your idea of civil war? I mean,
Right.
obviously they haven't thought this through. They're not smart to begin with. They
No.
think, with their guns, because it basically
That's all they
represents
have.
their small penis. And
Yeah.
so this is their great idea, civil war. Yeah, if Trump, and now the thing is, well, if Trump goes to jail, it's going to be war. It's going to be, it's going to break out. I'm like, yeah, okay, beer muscles.
Whatever.
That we used to call that back in the day when you went to the bar and you got drunk. You got
Beer
beer
muscles.
muscles. Yeah, that's what these idiots have, and it just
Yeah.
makes me laugh. I just find it hysterical.
I
Because-
wish it wasn't. I wish it was funny. I wish it was funny. I mean,
I know.
even without Trump, we have DeSantis. So it's not like
No,
even
yeah,
if
I
he
know.
died tomorrow,
Right.
it wouldn't matter. It just
Right.
wouldn't
Yeah.
matter.
It's-
All of
it's
this
what-
shit is
it's-
in the air.
It's Republican whack-a-mole. We'll lose one, we'll get
Yeah.
another one. You're right.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be it's gonna be a constant fight. It's just
It's going to be a
it
constant
could get worse.
fight.
Yeah, it
may,
will.
and it may not get better. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be a
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
mean,
very
fight.
that sounds very negative, but how else can you look at it? It's not really a
Right.
You
Yeah, no,
have to look at it realistically. I mean, and that's the truth. And
Yeah.
the people who aren't seeing that are the ones who don't want to see it because
we need an
You know,
alien
Ameri-
invasion. We need
I-
Independence Day to happen.
No, I have said
Maybe.
I have said many times that the problem with this country is that the issues are at polar opposites. The issues are at polar opposites, and you can't compromise on an issue
No.
when it's a polar opposite. There's no
Nope.
middle ground on some of these things. It's either for or against, and that's the problem. Too many issues are so far from compromise that this is
they're
the problem.
past it. They can't be compromised. Like, I'm
They're-
not going to compromise the rights of women and LGBTQ people and people of
Right.
color
Right?
to satisfy,
Yeah.
racist, misogynists, and bigots. I'm not
Yes.
going to. I'm not
Right.
cool with that. I never will be cool with that.
Right.
It's not
and
happening.
that's just one that that's the human issue, and then you've got the other issues, the ridiculous issues, separation of church and state, immigration, right, the border,
Uh,
guns, abortion. I mean,
yep,
there are
yep,
so
yep,
many
yep.
issues that it's hard to meet in the middle with somebody, sit and have a conversation. At the end of the conversation, shake hands and walk away saying, "Wow, I didn't think of it that way." And and
No,
and here's the
nope.
thing: that's never going to change. And so, how
Yeah.
do we,
So
as a
what do we
country,
do?
how do we mend this and come back together? And this is
I don't know.
why. This is why
I don't know.
I'm thinking about Costa Rica. No, I'm kidding. I'm
No, I
going to
think
move to
about
Costa
moving to other
Rica.
countries,
I
but
know,
I
don't
mean,
we? Don't we?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and I
But I
think,
have, family here that I don't want to leave, and
right? Yes, I know,
it's the same for everybody.
I know. And you bang your head against the wall and you think, why am I doing this? Am I getting anywhere? And I get it.
And
All
you're
right,
also
so
not so sure if whether or not it's going to be that much greener on the other side. Go to
Right.
different
That's
place.
true.
Might look on paper, or it might look statistically, and then you get there and you're like, wow, what was I thinking?
I recommended that, once the war in Ukraine is won, we all Democrats just head over to Ukraine, and help them rebuild. At least they give a crap about their country.
yeah,
That's true.
they basically they're showing the world what it's like to be committed to staying free,
Yeah,
staying
and,
free, fighting for your freedom.
and fighting
Which
for it.
I don't think I don't. I just wonder how we would do as a country if we were invaded. Who would stand up and say, you know what, I'm putting my life on the line because I value my freedom.
Oh, like Red Dawn,
Republicans
like
would
that movie Red Dawn.
Red Dawn,
Republicans would stand
or
with Republicans. I mean,
I
with
just
Russians.
I just think about how many young men in this country joined up into the service when the start of World War II, when America got involved. I know my dad did. He couldn't wait to go fight for fight the fascists. And men were of a different mindset back then. They had courage, and they had scruples, and they had ideals, and I think a lot of that's missing from white men today.
I blame Russia.
Okay.
Russia has done so much to damage the United States for so many years, an intentional plan to destroy us and turn us against each other because they knew that that's the only way they could possibly defeat us, and it works.
And it's working. Yeah, you're right. And it's working.
Yep.
That's another front we have to fight, right? Just another thing we have to gear up for.
Why does he still live? Why does Putin still live?
I don't know.
The guy's sick, supposedly has cancer and all kinds of other crap. Why does he stay alive? I think that his hatred and his desire to dominate the world keeps him alive. It's like pumping in adrenaline to him.
I hope I'm not around when he's gone,
lives.
because I'd love to see what happens. Does it get worse there? Does it get better there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It sounds like there might be a civil war brewing in Russia right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
When's he just going to go? And then when he goes, is the next person going to have as much power?
Right. Right.
I keep saying the same thing about the Orange Man. When is he finally going to go?
The Orange Man, no kidding.
Well, that chicken in McDonald's has got to take its toll sooner or later.
He can't live forever.
Right.
I always used to think that I didn't want him to die because I want him to go to jail. But right now, it's like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Just whatever. Just get rid of him. Just let him go.
Out of the picture. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think we just had a hell of a show.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're kind of burned out at this point.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
Now I'm going to spend the rest of the day thinking of ideas to, to help bolster our situation here and move things forward. I'm going to get a lot more vocal. I'm going to get a lot more vocal on Twitter.
Good.
And
on everything. We need to go everywhere. I mean,
yep.
I feel like on Twitter, I'm kind of wasting my time on an older generation, whereas maybe some of the younger people need to be riled up,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you're going to rile up young people. I don't know what riles them up. That's the thing. Take
I'm
away their
hearing from
Xbox.
my young men that a lot.
Yeah.
They say that a lot more of the younger generation is liberal leaning, liberal thinking, and if
Yeah.
that's true, and
I think it is.
that if that's true, I mean, I think that's a positive thing in a positive direction.
Yeah.
The three of us may not be around when there's that that incredible shift to that. I mean, it could take 20, 30 years from now.
Well, then we're doomed. The country's done. I mean, I think we're
Yeah.
we're on the way out right now. I do.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
I think we're on the way out where we're going to become a theocracy, a Christian theocracy.
Oh, that's
And then
bad.
it's too late. Then it's too late. If the kids, they're going to be indoctrinated into religion, and it's going to take place of education, and
Yep.
I feel like we're doomed if we don't do something really, really soon, like right now.
Yeah.
And I really think I'm right.
I think you are too.
Yeah.
I think you are
This
too.
is why I don't shut up. This is why I speak out all the time. This is why people tell me, oh, maybe you need to take a break from Twitter, or maybe you need to get a hobby or something. Like they're trying to say that I'm wasting my time worrying too much. It's like, well, shit. If you don't worry about your country dying and losing its democracy, then what do you worry about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably thinking about just survival, but you know what? Our very survival is at risk.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it is.
It
Absolutely.
is. I mean, my little life, whatever goes on in my little life, oh yeah, whatever, stuff happens. But this is so much bigger than that. It's just, it baffles me that more people don't see it. It bothers me immensely. I feel like I'm.
You know what? I'm not going to defend the entire country, but I think a lot of us have. We still have a COVID hangover. We still been beaten up by 4 years of a horrible president. So
We need to be slapped into
Yeah.
being awake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
We need to be slapped real hard. Because this isn't.
we need
This
to be
isn't
woke
just
in
some
a
little
different
thing.
woke.
Yeah.
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 Right. Woke in a different way.
Woke
yeah.
in a different way.
People
Yeah.
need to be scared, I think. I don't know what's going to scare them. I really don't. Until they realize it's going to affect them personally, they're not going to see it.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No, that's a good idea. I think that's how I'm gonna address what I want to say on Twitter from now on.
Or either that or we're going to
Yeah.
see in the
I'm-
news
I'm-
tomorrow.
No, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say this is what life in the United States is gonna be like if you don't get off your ass and do something about it. And I'm gonna
Yep.
list all the ways that religion is going to basically take over your life. And
Yep.
I'm gonna keep pushing that narrative because I think people need to see it. And how scary it could be. I mean, again, we're only 25% of the population, but there's still strength in numbers. There's
Yep.
still strength in numbers, and again, preaching to the choir. So I like Michelle's idea about broadening my readership on Twitter and going out in areas where I'm, I guess, not comfortable or I wouldn't venture, and start drumming stuff up, start getting people involved,
Yep.
start getting people thinking.
Me too. And we'll do more podcasts. Let's spread it out.
Oh, I'm fine with that. Oh,
You
I'm fine
know?
with that. And look, as an atheist, I'm really fine with this issue. I have no problem with it.
Yeah. It needs to be addressed. It's time.
Yep.
It's time.
I think so. Yeah, I think this is one of the most important issues of our life right now, at least for some of us,
is.
right?
Absolutely. I mean, we're old enough to have realized what life was like for a long time before this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up thinking there was hope. I grew up thinking things were improving. People were getting more rights. People were becoming more open-minded. The laws were getting better and we were becoming more advanced.
Oh,
But here we are going directly in the opposite place.
It's funny you should say that, because I started feeling that come 2008. I started feeling that in 2008 when Obama was
President
elected
Obama.
president. I'm
Me
like,
too.
wow,
Me
this country
too.
is really on a, it's on a tear. It's really starting, turning progressive. Maybe
No, but
they'll-
unfortunately, him
wonderful.
coming into presidency just started to anger people who were quiet, and
it made it
and
worse.
you had 8 years
Right.
of that, and then you followed by Trump. I mean, really?
Right.
I know.
So
Do you know, even
Right.
my parents loved Obama. My parents, who had voted Republican forever,
Right.
when
Yeah.
Bush W was in office, changed
Yeah.
their minds. And my
Yeah.
mom was the first person to tell me about Barack Obama and how wonderful he was and blah, blah, blah. I had never even heard of him before.
Yeah.
It was the start of a great relationship with my parents that I hadn't had before.
Yeah. Oh,
And
same
it was
here.
the start of hope with me.
Yeah,
He was
same
just
here.
the best thing ever.
Right.
And
same here.
now it's, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's all been erased, but
Yep.
it again.
no, it's not a race. It's not a race. I think us who were who were embracing of someone like Obama, thank God, for that time. I think you
Yeah.
had a whole another half of the country that we didn't realize were
Fuming.
angry. Yeah,
Fuming.
angry.
Yeah.
Angry
And
fuming.
for all
Yep.
the totally wrong reasons,
Of
basing it
course.
on not so
He
much
didn't-
not so much on the religion part, but definitely on the racist
Right.
part. Oh my God.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't come for their guns. He didn't change everybody to be a Muslim.
Right.
It's just ridiculous, the crap we had to put up with.
Oh, I know. I know.
Oh, the tan suit was the biggest crime the guy committed. Give me a break. Really, a tan suit? That's the best you got?
Oh, yeah, the tan suit.
The tan suit.
The
The best you
tan
got, huh?
suit.
What a shame. What a shame. It's like
Yeah.
No
embarrassing.
crimes, no rapes, no crimes,
Right.
no stealing classified documents,
Yep.
no,
No
Cajun
indictments.
kids at the border,
No stealing from charities. Yeah, none of that.
No, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
different time.
Well, I just want to say thank you for Michelle for coming on the show, and she's
Yes,
an
thank you.
amazing guest. She has a
Yes.
lot to say,
Definitely.
and it's all good. And if
She's
you- if
invited
you're-
back. Not you, Ray,
in-
just Michelle.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'll take my ball and go home. Anyway, so yes, please look for Michelle on Twitter. She's a very big Twitter voice for those of us who believe in the separation of church and state, and that we're being taken over by Christo-fascists in this country. So, so I want to thank her for coming on the show, and want to say goodbye and tell everybody just be good to each other out there. Bill, would you like to say goodbye?
Yes, Michelle, thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Glad to have you here. And
All right.
yeah,
Michelle?
everybody we'll see you soon.
And Michelle,
bye-bye.
would you like to say goodbye to our 3 listeners?
All right. Goodbye, and hope to talk to you again.
All righty.
All right. Bye
right.
for now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Please wait for assistance.
This is Bill, and you're listening to Pull Yourself to Pieces, the podcast, hosted on Anchor. You never heard of Anchor? Anchor by Spotify is a podcast host platform, and it's an easy way to make a podcast. We picked Anchor because they have everything we needed all in one place. You can record and edit a podcast from your computer or even right from your phone. Then you can have your podcast distributed easily to multiple platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and much more. And did I mention it's free? That's right. Anchor is free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Please check out our website, pullyourselftopieces.com.
That's right.
And you can subscribe to the show in Google and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Castbox, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Stitcher, and YouTube, or via RSS, so you'll never miss an episode.
And if you enjoy our show, don't forget to give us a high rating.
And remember to tell your friends about the show.
Thanks for listening to our show, and thank you to freesounds.org and Gottlieb, Audio Mirage, Plastabrain, Cognito Perceptu, FK Prod, Mirage Taser, Shadow Wisp, D-Boss, Viku Seru, Intra Environmental Sound Project, Julian Nicholas, Carmelo Mike, G Kill Hour, 140178 Sound, CMU Sound Design, Alan M.G., Der Super Anton, Eric H2000, Bulbastray, FK Phantom, Ultra Dust, Ada Records, Stuart Colborn, Debroid, Cubidup, GJ, Syntax Seed, Inspector J, Astounded, Madge 061785, Just Invoke, Short Record, Lorenzo Sue, and I'm Mackenzie. CreativeCommons.org/licenses/by/3.0/legal code.